Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching our webinar on how to enhance your customer experience with communication APIs. Over the next half hour, we will share some insights on the changing customer experience landscape, the trends, and how you yourself can start harnessing the power of APIs to provide a seamless customer experience. I'll be your host. I'm Thomas Laboul, the founder and CEO of Toku, a cloud communications provider for businesses in Asia Pacific. With me is Celine K, the head of service excellence at Gojek Singapore, who will be sharing insights on how Gojek overcame customer experience challenges through the use of APIs. Welcome, Celine.
Thank you, Thomas. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. Thanks for joining. And I'm really excited to hear more about Gojek's success story today. But before we go into that, allow me to set the stage for our discussion and share some background information for our audience. So a constant in life is change. It's exactly the same for customer expectations that are only going up. So for brands, it's a real opportunity because it means that they can differentiate themselves from the competition. But it comes also as a challenge because with increasingly higher expectations, these need to be met in a way that is for the business itself, scalable, and obviously also cost efficient. So understanding the customer experiences and how they will evolve is the first step of any customer experience strategy. Some statistics. The majority of customers are clearly indicating that they will spend more with brands that are doing a good job with customer experience. And one of the keys for good customer experiences these days is online engagement. So the payoff for building a seamless online engagement can be huge for brands that are doing a good job at it. So now, besides the opportunity, it's also understanding what are the communication channels that are used by your audience. And over the last year, many customers have started to explore new challenges. Part of that was because they were forced to do it as spending habits need to be modified because of the pandemic and the different lockdowns that were occurring. So we've seen a lot of customers flocking towards new communication channels, social media messaging, other OTT channels, but also traditional telephony that remains an ubiquitous communication channel. So besides this evolution, we also have seen that companies are forced to change their own organization because of the COVID. So not only do they have the challenge of understanding the customer experience trends, and to answer to that, they also need to themselves adapt to the new reality. So that challenge of organizing the company and organizing the customer interactions comes on top of keeping up with the changing habits of their customers. So traditional technology is not enough in order to answer to this. And against the landscape of disruptive new business models and these evolving customer preferences, you need to have the speed and the agility required to remain competitive. And that is something that you will find through cutting-edge omni-channel communication tools that are nowadays provided directly in the cloud for you to boost productivity, streamline workflows, and also collaborate more efficiently across different channels. So these tools, they need to be integrated with other business systems in order to work effectively. And APIs is the best way to achieve that. Application programming interfaces are more and more used and have been a revolution, not only in business communications, but across different aspects of corporate tools and integrations. So being able to have different communication channels directly embedded into your applications, into your business processes and your platforms is a key element in being able to deliver a top-notch customer experience. So this is available today through a communication platform as a service providers or CPaaS. A lot of different use cases, and we will not tackle all of them today, but part of that is authentication, notifications, making sure that you can provide through different channels a timely and effective notification and alert to your customers, either through the channels that they are using already or through your own application, through your own platform. The possibilities are really endless when you're building that customer experience, because today the sky is the limit. You can really think of almost any kind of feature and look into how can I now integrate it with my existing systems, with my existing processes, all thanks to APIs. So now we are arriving at the exciting part, because all what I said so far is mostly theory. But let's go into some real life applications with Gojek. So we have been extremely fortunate as a brand to be collaborating with Gojek since end of 2018. It has been a very interesting use case because they have so many different business needs that can actually be answered with APIs, not only APIs from Toku, but also APIs that are available in third-party tools. And how can we now integrate all of this together and make sure that we are solving the business needs of Gojek, and in this case, the team at Gojek Singapore. So once again, Celine, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Thomas.
So I'm sure most of our viewers already know Gojek, but just in case, can you give a brief introduction of what Gojek does?
Sure. So Gojek, the company, actually started back in 2010 as an idea, right, to solve Jakarta's traffic problems, effectively trying to match, people who are trying to get rides with the motorcycle taxis that were on the road, also known as ojeks. So incidentally, actually, this service actually started off as a call center back then, but obviously nowadays, it's grown to something much, much bigger. These days, Gojek is Southeast Asia's leading on-demand multi-service platform, catering to basically different customer needs, right? Whether it's a transport, needing a ride, whether it is ordering your food and, picking out food from your favorite stall across different countries. Also, we are into payments as well as logistics. So, there are a broad range of services for Gojek across the different countries that we operate in. In Singapore itself, we actually launched back towards the end of 2018. And since then, we've been able to provide millions of rides to our customers across the nation. So that's
Gojek. It's indeed super impressive. Gojek's growth has been very rapid. It's amazing how the company has scaled in a matter of 5 years. So I'm sure with that kind of growth, there were a lot of challenges to get where you are today. Can you give us an idea of some of the challenges that you faced in terms of customer experience, especially, and how Gojek was able to overcome that?
Sure. I think as we started off, right, it was one of the first few ventures into a different country. And so there was a bit of balancing of, global solutions as well as localized needs, right? As you guys probably know, Singapore is quite a demanding market where there are really a lot of high expectations of the product, high expectations of the service, high expectation of the whole experience, right? From the start to the beginning of the trip. And so trying to meet those expectations and taking in all the feedback is something that, we continuously try to do and iterate on. And then thirdly, I think it was a good problem to have where, our growth was really quite fast, right? There was exponential growth, a lot of interest when we came into the Singapore market. And along with those challenges is, of course, trying to scale and meet the SLAs, and respond in a timely manner to our driver partners and customers who actually needed our help. It came to a point where we had over 100 plus agents trying to handle phone support, answering these queries. But unfortunately, I guess what we came to realize over time is that, scaling through having more people was very manual, not so scalable, as well as, quite expensive as well. Yeah,
I can definitely understand why this wouldn't be sustainable, and I suppose that's where automation through APIs came in.
Mm-hmm.
How did the APIs help you maybe solve specific issues?
Yeah, sure. So I think there are two different problems that I wanted to share about. The first one is addressing the pain point of lost and found. So maybe you guys have also experienced that in the comfort of riding a car, inevitably you drop an item or forget that actually something was left in the car, right? This is obviously something very urgent as well as, very critical, right? As a person who forgets something, maybe something really important like your phone or your laptop, you really want to retrieve it right away. So that's where I think Toku's APIs came in. So in terms of this development, we actually used Toku's IVR APIs, number masking APIs, as well as communication APIs through SMS. And just taking you through the flow a little bit, right? Let's say you had lost an item, you would then, call the IVR number, enter a few of these details to verify that this was indeed the trip that you had lost an item on. After verification, an SMS would be sent to the customer, right? Providing a temporary mask number for the customer to reach out to the driver partner. Once the contact is made, then between themselves, the customer and the driver could actually make an arrangement to meet up and retrieve the item. And with this, right, they could handle the timing according to their convenience and resolve the issue on their own. So yeah, that's for our lost and found IVR solution, right? Another situation where we were able to harness the power of APIs is actually where we provide self-help and automate the solution in terms of less urgent issues. So an example here would be, as an employee at the end of the month, maybe you needed to submit your quarterly expenses or monthly expenses, right? And with this, you require a report of all the Gojek trips that you had received. So thinking about this is slightly less critical as if you would compare that to the lost and found scenario, but still something that is important to the customer. So we tried to develop this flow to be as seamless as possible, and using internal communication APIs, pull out the information for the customer in order to provide a PDF generated of all the trips that they may have completed in the last month. So with this, customers could self-help. There is no need for agent intervention, and everyone's able to get the response that they need appropriately.
Yes, that would definitely reduce the load on the support team and enable you to scale. I can see that, and probably without negatively impacting the customer experience. I believe as a customer, at least, I'm actually happy when I can do some things on my own. It's much more efficient, depending on the use case, of course. Have you observed any improvement in your operations, and are you able to share some statistics with us about how it evolved since implementing these measures?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of our lost and found IVR implementation, what we observe is that more than 50% of our lost and found tickets actually then went through this flow. This was especially helpful when we think about the changes coming about from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, that's indeed a big part then that is handled directly through the IVR. And you're mentioning the pandemic. Can you give us a better idea on how your support operations have changed because of the COVID-19 situation?
Yeah, well, definitely, right. I think across the world, everyone had to adjust to that in terms of catering to the lockdowns, but in terms of support, right, we needed to make sure that there was business continuity. So in terms of how the lost and found IVR was able to help, right, there was no more need for kind of our agents to be the middleman in terms of coordinating between the driver partner as well as the customer. In this sense, right, we were then able to pivot the teams and the agents that we still continue to have into more value-adding services where human intervention was really required.
That makes a lot of sense. And so, out of curiosity, the remaining 50% are still handled in the same way. So the agents are intervening and coordinating manually then, right?
Yeah, so there may be cases where maybe the IVR isn't able to fully handle. Maybe the case is critical. Maybe there were challenges reaching the driver partner because he was on a trip and stuff like that. In those cases, our agents will still, respond to the ticket and help both parties to resolve and hopefully retrieve the item.
Yeah, thanks. Very clear.
I think besides that, what we've seen is also that, around 90% of our reported incidents were actually resolved through the IVR flow without human intervention. And so on that front, we've also received lesser escalations, and people could effectively self-help, right? We don't need, as I mentioned, the agent doesn't need to serve as a middleman, and everyone kind of can coordinate at their own time.
Yes, that's amazing. And I'm sure it has a great impact on the customer satisfaction as well. So what's the next step now for the care team at Gojek? Are you working on anything interesting that you can already share? What is the next innovation to improve customer experience?
Yeah, well, I guess maybe not so much into specifics, but I think, overall what we're trying to do is continuously listen to our customer feedback to see what we can do better, right? Overall, I think as a strategy, we will continue to harness the power of technology as well as APIs to see how we can automate flows and make these services much more accessible and easier for our users. Thinking about that, we can some high-level ideas around, more self-help as well as customized experiences for each user as to what type of support they need. And beyond that, I think we're also looking internally, right? How can we improve the flow for our agents in order to provide better services for our end users? So overall, yes, I think we're continuing to look at more innovations in order to help improve the customer experience.
Yes, I can hear it. Exciting times ahead, and I love the continuous improvement culture at Gojek. Don't forget, Toku is always there if you need us for a brainstorming session, consulting, or any kind of help in this matter. We love to collaborate with you. Thanks again for your time, Celine.
Thank you, Thomas, and it's been great working with you and the team as well.
Okay, so to wrap up, communication APIs are a very powerful way to build and enhance your customer experience. I believe that was very clear, especially with the example that Celine shared with us. So let's look at 3 aspects where CPaaS is really helping you to manage your communications and how it affects your ability to answer the needs on the customer experience aspect. So first of all, it's all about being able to accelerate the digital transformation that is so much needed these days. So you are able with APIs to simplify complex connections, making it easier to react quickly to changing needs. Secondly, it's operational efficiency. So you are improving it by automating mundane tasks or tasks where a human intervention is not necessarily going to improve the customer experience. And last but not least, it's about flexibility and scalability, is enabling your business to connect when it is needed and to the channels that you need for particular business needs. So these 3 aspects, digital transformation acceleration, operational efficiency improvement, and the increase in flexibility and scalability are what summarizes the advantages of CPaaS and why you should definitely look into it and try it out. So we hope that with this webinar, you are better equipped now to tackle the customer experience challenges in your own company. Toku is, of course, always available if you need more advice, more details, more information about the CPaaS landscape and the customer experience trends. So if you found this content useful, subscribe to our newsletter for more exclusive tips, tricks, and resources. And obviously, if you're not yet a Gojek user, please go online, download the app, and try their amazing service out. Until next time, and have a great day ahead. Bye.
Bye.